Hey everyone, it's Ricky Molina from the Ricky Molina YouTube channel. Glad you could be with me today. Today I've got a special compositional guitar lesson type of video for you. I'm going to be reviewing the chords from a song that I recently uploaded a vocal version of. I had a friend of mine from Sao Paolo, Brazil, named Bruno Elisabetsky sing the lead vocal part for me. I had written the instrumental version years ago, and I wrote some lyrics to the song, and I thought it would be nice to get a really good vocalist to cover it for me. Bruno did a great job. So if you visit the Ricky Molina YouTube channel, you could hear and see Bruno singing the song, and I'm playing the guitar parts, and I'm doing most of the musical tracking and programming for that song. Anyways, the chords for this song are really very, very interesting, I feel, and they're very educational for a jazz guitarist or any jazz musician who wants to expose their ears to a new and different type of sound. You know, learning jazz chords is essential, I believe, for composing music, because it's kind of like, you know, walking into an ice cream store. And chances are, if you have like 31 flavors to choose from, you're not just going to go for the chocolate or the vanilla or the strawberry. You're probably going to choose something like a Jamocha almond fudge or chocolate chip, or maybe one of the peanut butter caramel type of flavors, something that has a twist to it. And the same thing, I believe, holds true with a lot of musicians and composers. Over the years, you know, you listen to pop songs and rock songs, and it's pretty straightforward. You know, you got maybe 5 or 6 chords in a song, and like a lot of it's 1-4-5, meaning you start on the tonic, you go to the 4 chord, and then you end up with a dominant cadence into the tonic again. That type of idea. Very straightforward, plain vanilla. But when you start listening to jazz, you really start hearing things. You're like, wow, what was that chord? Oh, what is that chord from that song? It sounds so beautiful. It's different. It's a little bit off center. It's giving me a little bit more tension than usual. And that's the beauty of jazz. And let me just tell you briefly the origin of this song. I was taking an advanced jazz guitar chord course from a very good jazz guitarist from Norway, and online, that is. And one of his lessons was about learning about different ways to say E major. And there are countless ways. And one of the ways you could do that is to use derivations of the major 7 chord. In this case, the first chord of the song was one of the first chords from this lesson. And I was like so enthused about learning this new chord that I just went to town with it. And I wrote this song, Weight of a Whisper, from it. The whole song derives from this E major 9 without the 5. It basically, as you can see here, I've got all the chords laid out here, and please don't be intimidated by all of this, because while there are 68 chords in the song, you know, you deal with them one by one and break it up into parts. In fact, I've broken up this instructional guitar lesson into 3 parts so that it won't get too drawn out, and we'll have some time to go over the fingerings and all. And so as you can see, the first chord is the E major 9 chord, and it basically, you know, the E major 7 is up here, starting on the 7th fret. Here's the 7, and you're familiar with this formation, right? C major 7, D major 7, E major 7, right? Well, the E major 9 is an offshoot of that. All you got to do is, you got the E in the bass there. Essentially, you're just using these 3 fingerings here. And the guitar tabs are here, as you can see. So what I would suggest doing is listening to the song on YouTube. You can listen to Bruno's version singing it, and you can also listen to my instrumental version of it with a sax solo taking the lead. And I'll also throw in a backing track, which you can click on a link for beneath this video. The whole thing will be wrapped up into one big package, which is something that you can have a look at if you're interested in purchasing the whole package as the whole enchilada in one for a very reasonable price. And anyways, a lot of work went into this. Actually, I don't consider myself to be a transcriber by any means, and I don't believe that you have to learn how to write music to compose music at all. I'm totally suspicious about people who say they can compose well with pen and paper. Most musicians hear it in their mind or get inspired from different sources, but take a look at Paul McCartney, for example. You know, Paul McCartney did not know how to read or write music, but of course, his musical intuition, as you know, in Mozart's case as well, he was a great composer. He hated transcribing. And I don't want to say I'm anywhere near these guys in terms of the league of the composition talent, but I can definitely relate to this whole concept of hard to see things on paper, black and white. When you learn a jazz standard, for example, the best thing you can do is to listen to as many different versions of it. So one of the first people I listen to any version of a jazz standard is Ella Fitzgerald. If you want to get the melody rock solid in your mind and the chord flow, listen to Ella's version first. Then you can go tap into other, jazz musicians who've got special things to say about songs, like the Duke Ellingtons and Coltrane and Wes Montgomery, etc., Frank Sinatra, Sarah Vaughan, and even some more contemporary artists that are reviving the jazz standards, like Jane Monheit. Comes to Linda Ronstadt, has a beautiful album with Nelson Riddle for learning jazz standards. Nat King Cole, as well as Natalie Cole. Anyways, I digress. Oh, and what I wanted to say is about the transcribing is that, I'm terrible at notating rhythmic movement on paper. I can hear it. It comes natural to me. I can play it, but it's very hard for me to get it on black and white. I tried to get it into Guitar Pro 7, and I even recorded versions into other DAWs to get the notation right, and I tried to use that to get it into Guitar 7 Pro. I found it to be very, very difficult to get the rhythm. So I think this being a bossa nova song, especially the rhythm is key. So I think what we should do is just spend a little moment here getting familiar with the general beat and the rhythm. And once again, listen to the recordings of Weight of a Whisper on the YouTube channel, on Spotify, and iTunes, whatever. Okay, so it starts out on an E major 9. That's the rhythm, generally speaking. Okay, we're talking about 120 beats per minute, which is like da 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 da. I'll slow it down. Da 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 da. Do it with the guitar. Ready? See, I've got that thumb going there. Boom, boom. It's like a kick drum. So it's da da boom boom da 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 it's important to emphasize the pattern of the rhythm here when it comes to bossa nova, especially. It's really got to just flow and become second nature, and you'll get it after a while. Don't be intimidated with the chord formations. That'll come over time. You can learn any song over time. It just takes a few days, or perhaps maybe weeks, to really nail a jazz standard. It doesn't come overnight, but you got to keep at it, keep playing it, keep learning it, and adding to your familiarity of the chords. You gradually build up. You build and build and build, and you continue building on it, practicing it, and gradually over days and weeks, it becomes ingrained. Trust me. You can learn any chord progression within reason. Now, I'm not talking about those really wide spreading chords. I absolutely hate those personally, and I can't stand those guitar books that show you that, oh, okay, we're going to get this E7 flat 9 minor, minor 11th chord or whatever it is, and they've got their fingers up like that. Come on, give me a break. You're not going to use that live. You're not going to use that really. When push comes to shove, you're going to get formations that really make sense on the fretboard for you. Forget about that stuff. You don't have to learn that stuff. That is impossible. I mean, you have to have enormous fingers, first of all, to get those. But I'm talking about straightforward chords. You can learn them all. Progressions as well. Pat Metheny, no problem. Just got to take them one chord at a time and build and build and build. And I didn't say Pat Metheny soloing. I meant Pat Metheny chords, because the soloing part of Pat Metheny, that's a whole nother ballgame. I'll leave that to other guitar players and jazz musicians to teach you that. I'm here more from a compositional chord perspective. I love chords, and I think they're the foundation of everything and great music and rhythm. Okay, so let's get back to this here. Okay, the rhythm is, okay, so we got two measures here. Okay, so notice that the rhythms are not notated. I've got actually whole notes there, and you're supposed to take, the reason I used whole notes when I could and half notes is because it's clearer to read. You can actually read the tabs better and the chord formations notated above the staff much more clearly. So therefore, I was reluctant to put in the dot 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 notation there. Anyways, okay, so let's do the introduction here. We start off with the E major 9, no 5. And I'm going to play it slower than I would normally. That was the C flat 5 over E into the F sharp diminished over E. Okay, don't let those terms, just look at the pictures, look at the formations, get the formations down, worry about the names later. You don't have to be a music theorist for this. Don't get scared with the music theory. It's all about the formations. Look at the formations on the PDF and learn them that way. And get the sound. That's more important than the names. The formations of the fingering of the chords and the sound relative to the context of the other chords. In context with the other chords. The sound of the chord that you're learning in context of the progression. That's what it is. So when you see this formation here, you got something there. There's a minor chord in that F sharp diminished over E. You see that minor formation? You have to learn. I think the key to being a great jazz guitarist is to see the formations within the formations. So if you get this, like, I hear minor right there. You hear that? That's a minor sound. And then that G flat right there, F sharp, that's what gives it the tension. Okay, so that F sharp, and then you've got the E in the bass. beautiful chord, all right? That's like Jamocha Almond Fudge right there. Okay, simple things first. We got the E in the bass, the open E in the bass going throughout this introduction here, okay? Now I tend to pick, give it that harp sound on the way out of the introduction. So that's thumb 1, 2, 3 on the right hand. Notice that I'm using my fingers. I'm not using a pick. You know, Joe Pass once said, the closer you can get to your fingers, the closer you get to your heart. Meaning, if you use a pick, you're going to be, you know, sure, picking is great for fast riffs, okay? If you're going to be playing, it's very hard for me to pick that, actually, to go thumb and second or third and first fingers. So use a pick for that sort of thing, a very thin pick, if you will, small, thin, somewhat medium-sized pick for jazz leads and solos. But when it comes to rhythm stuff, you lose so much control by using a pick. You can't do things with a pick that you can with your thumb and your essentially 3 fingers here. Sometimes you pull in the pinky for special effect, and in flamenco especially. Okay, so thumb and 1, 2, 3, picking at the same time. Thumb. Oh, did you notice how I muted the strings there for a second? Thumb, 1, 2, 3. I'm talking about the right hand here. Thumb, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, thumb. And the other thing I'd like to say is that it's the formations of the chords that's important. It's not the names of them, it's the formations. In guitar, the beautiful thing about guitar is that you can slide the formations all over the neck. It's the sound of the formation that's important in the context of the other chords in the progression. That's what it's about. So if you learn, let's say, an F sharp diminished, all right, that's an interesting formation. What if we tried it up here? That's the A diminished. It's also minor 7 flat 5. Okay. That's the beauty of the guitar. You can't do that with a piano. For the B part, the B verse is the part where the singing comes in after the intro. And it starts off with, I watch you sleeping as the dawn peeks through the shades and before too long. Okay, so we start off with the E major 9, no 5. I watch you sleeping. Let's get the... I watch you sleeping as the dawn. E minor 9. Typically, E minor 9s are played like this. But we're scrapping the fifth bass, the 5th string bass, and we're going with the open E instead. Still an E minor 9. Nice and soft minor. Very, very sweet minor sound, if you will. Going down to the A major 7. It's really like this A major 7 formation. You're probably familiar with that. But instead of the A and the bass on the 6th string, we're using an open string instead. You can include the top string as a ring sort of feature It's not necessary, but into the A minor major, all we're doing is we're sliding down. We're going from the major 7 C sharp, C, C sharp, C. Minor major is a very interesting chord. It's really like an augmented sound. And the augmented chord is a chord that's comprised of minor and major, so it's really dichotomous or schizo. It's like in music, if you want to introduce an element of mystery, surprise, unsettledness, tension, but mystery at the same time, augmented chords are there for you, okay? They're very unsettled. Okay, so we went from the major 7 to the schizo A minor major 7. Then we go to something a little more resolved here, G sharp minor 7. That's really like, that part here is really like, think of it as a C sharp minor 7, okay? Minor 7. Okay, but we're hammering on to the E part there, E note there. So it's, so we go. And then we slide up to the F sharp minor. It's really an F sharp minor 7, I like to think of it. And then A diminished over C. But I'm only playing 3 notes there. It's not like a 4 or 5 note chord. It's really got 3 notes going here. I've got the C in the bass here on the 8th fret, and the essential part of the A diminished here. Flat 3rd, flat 5th. And then we kind of resolve here to an F sharp minor over A in the bass, F sharp minor, slide it up to, and grab the B in the bass there. That's a G sharp minor over B, B in the bass. Back resolving to the, essentially it's an E sound. It's B add 11, no 5 over E, technically speaking, but what I'm after here is the resolution to the E major sound. And then you can tack on the open B and E string at the end of this phrase. So let's play the entire verse together, okay? I don't know if I should sing it for you at the same time. Maybe that'll distract you instead of help you, but so... All right, let's sing over it. I watch you sleeping as the dawn peeks through the shades. Before too long, da da da, da da. I'll play it again. Isn't that pretty? Okay, well that does it for this particular lesson. This is the first part of 3 for this song. We covered parts A and B. That's the introduction and the verses. In the next video, we'll go over the pre-chorus into the chorus. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. That would help me a lot in terms of giving me motivation to continue these type of lessons. And if you like these lessons, let me know. And don't forget that you can purchase and download the PDF for this particular, the score. You can get the backing tracks with the instrumental, without the instrumental, with the vocal. And the backing track version is one that you can solo over. You can have the backing track play the accompaniment and you solo over it, practicing soloing in this case over E major or whatever scales come to mind. So that's an entire package that's available also, and I'll put a link for it under the video. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.